according to President Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa would use its position as the BRICS grouping's chair in 2023 to advance the interests of all of Africa. He announced during a news conference on Monday in Johannesburg that additional African countries will be invited.
Welcome again to another episode of the Washington SXM podcast. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell to get notified whenever I drop a video. I do videos daily, so you can check back and you can get to see what I'm doing every single day. Okay, so I book up on this. It's about the BRICS. If who don't know what the BRICS is, it's organization that's formed in 2009, I think. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America. That's why the acronym BRICS is there. So I'm going to get into it and then we can discuss it after.
The African National Congress has demanded that the nation should utilize its 2023 BRICS candidacy to lobby for the inclusion of additional members in the political and economic association of significant emerging economies. The expansion of BRICS, which the African National Congress claims accounts for a third of the global GDP, fits in with the party's effort to fortify alliances in opposition to the economic hegemony of industrialized nations like the U.S.
This is a good move by South Africa.
In 2009, the BRICS group has grown to become one of the most influential international organizations in the world, with a combined GDP of over $16 trillion. The group has played a key role in promoting economic development and cooperation among its member countries, and has also sought to challenge the dominance of traditional Western powers in global affairs. Brazil, Russia, India, and China are the four nations previously referred to as the BRICS. These four BRIC nations were predicted to have rapid growth due to their enormous land masses, sizable populations, and wealth of natural resources. The BRICS were a group of developing nations with the potential for rapid economic development. After the addition of South Africa in 2010, the lowercase s, which stood for the plural, was changed to an uppercase S for the country. As a result, the acronym BRICS...
Stick up in. This is a very good move by South Africa, and also this is why when the war started in Crimea in Ukraine, this is why Russia didn't feel it as much, because he had a bank backing him, as you see later on in the video, which is, and they have China and India backing them, and those are two. China have the biggest economy worldwide, right? So with India and China backing Russia, that's why they didn't feel that pain when time America put sanctions on them and took away the dollar. But let's continue before I get too deep in this.
Was coined to represent 5 emerging countries. Interestingly, China's economy is more than twice the size of the rest of the group put together, while Saudi Arabia has received Russia's approval to join.
Stick up in again, and if Saudi Arabia join the BRICS, it's gonna be even more powerful, because Saudi Arabia has what, 1/3. I forget how much percentage of the world oil. So with Russia and Saudi Arabia, who control around, I forget how much, like 40% of 50% of the world oil, it's gonna be a big leap for them. So I hope South America is now the chair of the BRICS 2023. I just found this out today. They are the chair of it for this year. So, and this one we're gonna keep in South America this year as well. So I hope the South Africa. Why am I saying South America? I hope South Africa, the president, bring in other African nations that can help build them strong. And you will see why I'm saying this. I'm gonna lay it out later when the video is finished.
In a draft paper that was seen by trustworthy sources, the ANC's International Relations Committee recommended that the ANC and ANC-led government should promote the growth of BRICS by admitting other members on the basis of
they're the chairperson right
criteria, principles, and values. The policy document, which covers geopolitics, education, and how to combat rising crime levels, bemoaned the decline of a so-called non-aligned movement and warned of the dangers of the hegemonic developed countries in the global north. In addition, It blasted NATO members for arming Ukraine to fight Russian invaders and claimed China was the target of an intensification of geopolitical tensions and trade wars by Western countries. The draft statement advocated for the improvement of ties between South Africa and Cuba and Venezuela, as well as the abolition of punitive and brutal sanctions imposed on those nations, as well as Iran, Syria, and Zimbabwe. Furthermore, the draft document suggested holding a referendum to decide whether to unite the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. From the African...
stick up in here. I realized today there's no Western or European country in the BRICS. Just the 5 nations I mentioned. Brazil, India, Russia, China, South America. South Africa. Why I keep saying South America? South Africa. So there's no European nation in it, and there's no Westerners in it as well.
Perspective. This perhaps marks the all-important first step towards greater economic cooperation and development on the continent, because according to President Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa would use its position as the BRICS grouping's chair in 2023 to advance the interests of all of Africa. He announced during a news conference on Monday in Johannesburg that additional African countries will be invited to the BRICS summit in South Africa later this year. Moreover, this move could also help to foster greater political and social cohesion among African nations. Overall, the ANC's call for the BRICS group to admit more members is a welcome development, as it highlights the need for greater unity and cooperation among African nations.
When we will chair BRICS, which actually starts this year, it's already started, we now chair BRICS, having taken over from China, we are going to be advancing the African agenda. And when we hold BRICS,
unity
invite various
to grow Africa as a continent.
To come like the last time, to be the outreach part of BRICS, because we want BRICS to focus on Africa. We believe that this is Africa century.
That sums up our video for the day. If you enjoyed...
Stick up in there. So you see, it's a very important for the BRICS. They have the G7 or the G8, I think it is now, or G7 because they want to kick Russia out. So those are all Western countries, right? And European countries. But this now is solely for disenfranchised countries and countries that the West try to bully with the US. Because every time they have the US currency, they try to. Let me read something for you. I put it on the screen so you guys can take a look at it. It's the steps, the reason for the BRICS, the reason for it. So let's go. Increasing trade cooperation by making an exclusive trade bloc. This come handy because after Western sanctions, Russia integrated its economy with BRICS and saved its economy from utter collapse, which they did. That's why I said they had the backing of China, so they was good. They didn't have to worry about the US dollar. 2, using currency other than the US, since dollar is a dominant currency and the US can control the flow of dollars. BRICS helps in the countries operating with alternate currencies. Again, a plus, that's 2. 3rd reason, increasing regional cooperation. Trade is related to everything. India and China were the only countries which did not condemn Russia for what happened in Crimea. This happened because there is big money among the countries. Again, China is a global economy. It doubles everybody else. 4th and last reason, the original objective was that developed countries used to dominate the trade with developing countries. So there was a separate trade bloc made for developing countries for a trade cooperation. So there you go. That's the main focus of the BRICS. And they also have a bank. They are backed by a bank. So this is why it's going to be so powerful. And the bank, as I'll put it up, you can see it. It's the NDM, the New Developed Bank, formerly referred to as the BRICS Developing Bank. And it's situated in China, is where the head office is, the main office. So it cannot be touched by US or any European countries cannot go and mess with this bank because it's secure where it is in China, because they can't go to China and do anything. So, and these are some of the countries that using this bank right now. As you can see here, Bangladesh, Brazil, China, Egypt, India, Russia, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, and Uruguay. So, and this bank was it on 2014, I think it was. 2014 is when this bank is operational. And look at this other reading right here as well. They started out the bank with $100 billion. You hear that? $100 billion. And they have 1 million shares. And it's 100,000 for each share. So the NDB is 50 billion divided into paid in shares, 10 billion, and collab shares 40 billion. So the initial subscribed capital of the bank was equally distributed among the founding members: Brazil, Russia, India, People's Republic of China, South Africa. The agreement on the NDM and the NDB specifies that every member will have one vote. No one can veto any power. So that's also a clause in it. Everybody only have one vote. Nobody can veto anything. So so they have to come together. And this bank, it helps with it supports projects in all these countries, and they back one another. And this is good because, as I tell you, America too like to use the currency and bully everybody because the US is a dominant currency, right? So because of what happened in Crimea, it boosts the bank even more in China, which is the NDM bank and the BRICS bank basically, and it helped Russia to stabilize the economy, and the Russian currency grew against the dollar. China, the yen grew against the dollar. So if this happened and in African countries, although no, it's only South Africa, but if you can get other African countries into this, then it will be, they would have to be dependent on the dollar, and they can use this, and they're going to create a new currency. This is what Gaddafi tried, and they killed him with the gold denier. As I remember, I did a video on that. So this is one of the reasons why I think they can't mess with China, because America hold China trillions of dollars in debt, so they can't mess. So that's why I'm so happy the base is in China, and they have an office now this year as well in South Africa. So I hope this South African president do not make the trick him or make, because China is brilliant when it comes to economics and using other countries to make millions, billions, because Jamaica right now, well, separate and apart from China, Jamaica hold the IMF, I think 1 billion. But this bank, the IMF, when they go to other people's country, they does basically rape them. So they, as I said earlier, if they give you 1 billion, you have to pay them back maybe like 5 billion with interest over time. So they don't come to help, they come to take advantage. So I'm so happy this bank come about, so we don't have to depend on the IMF, because the IMF works with the European and American governments. That's what they do. So with this new bank now, everybody can separate. And if you realize Iran want to join the BRICS as well, and Saudi Arabia going to join soon because they get the go ahead. So let's see how this comes out. This is a plus for South Africa. I like this move. I don't know if many of you know this, but the BRICS organization is a good move for South Africa. I applaud this move, and let's hope, since South Africa is now the chair of this year, for this new venture, let's hope he can bring Bolo, hey, stop barking. Let's hope he can bring in Bolo, Hercules. Let's see if he can bring in other he can bring in other African countries into this to make this be a unity thing, and then helps Africa grow their economy and don't have to depend on America nor Europe. This would be great for the continent on a whole. So hope you all learned something. And there's a website you can go and check out all this information. You don't have to believe me, and you can go and do some of the research, and you see how everything was started, what is the reason of it, what's the cause of it. So I don't know. It's the Washington SXM podcast. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell, hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm. You don't know. Peace, one love, boom.